They texted you after silence? This brutal reply will destroy them. Psychology tricks. He who angers you conquers you. Elizabeth Kenny. They always return. That one small notification flashing on your screen, a harmless little hey, is not an innocent greeting. It's a calculated move. It's not affection. It's not interest. It's a probe to test your emotional temperature, to see if they still have access to your mind. The hard truth? Most people give in. They reply instantly, surrendering their self-respect without even realizing it. But not you. Not anymore. Because once you understand these psychology tricks, you'll stop being the prey. You'll stand your ground, stay calm, and watch their power collapse. This isn't about revenge. It's about mastery, emotional mastery that flips the script and makes them question every step. 1. The message after silence, a test of control. When someone who once vanished from your life suddenly reappears with a short, hollow message like, "Hey, how are you?" Don't fool yourself into thinking it's a grand act of love or a sincere attempt to reconnect. It's not romance, it's not care, it's one of the oldest psychology tricks in the book, a subtle move in female psychology designed to test control. That little notification isn't a doorway back into love, it's a fishing line. You're the fish, and the bait is nothing more than two empty words. If you bite, if you reply instantly, you've just told them they still hold the keys to your emotions. That is not how to fall in love. That's how to fall into a trap. You must understand this. When people are truly happy, fulfilled, and satisfied in their current lives, they don't suddenly reappear with breadcrumbs. They don't reach out because they miss you. They reach out because their ego has gone hungry, their attention supply has run dry, and they need a quick charge for their fragile self-esteem. In that moment, you become nothing more than a gas station for their insecurity, a quick hit of validation that keeps them going until someone else fills the tank. Don't play that role. Don't give away your dignity for free. Be the man who understands the game, not the pawn who gets moved across the board. The brutal truth is that this is not about love, it's about power. Every short text after silence is a control test. If you answer instantly, you're saying, yes, you still matter more than my self-respect. Yes, you still control how I feel. That is the exact opposite of strength. That is the exact opposite of what makes someone respect you. If you want to know how to fall in love the right way, with balance and with dignity, you must first master the art of not reacting to manipulation. That's where true masculine power lies. A high-value man doesn't jump at every hey. He doesn't act like a starving dog begging for scraps. He steps back, he observes, and he decides with clarity whether the person reaching out even deserves his presence. Psychology tricks aren't just for those who play them, they're also for those who can see through them. And once you see clearly, you'll never unsee it again. Remember this: silence is not your weakness, it is your weapon. Be comfortable with it. Be proud of it. Don't give in to cheap tactics that seek to undermine your peace. Instead, flip the game. When they text after silence, let your calmness be the reply. When they bait you with empty words, let your strength show in not rushing to respond. That is the real victory. That is how you reclaim control of the narrative. Female psychology might push them to test whether they still have you wrapped around their finger, but your power comes from showing them that you've outgrown the strings, that you've built a life where your emotions aren't dictated by a ghost who pops in and out whenever it suits them. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Apply that here. Don't just react, command your space, command your time, command your value. In doing so, you will not only guard your dignity, but also set the stage for authentic love to enter your life, love built on respect, not manipulation, presence, not absence. That is the ultimate psychology trick. Never let someone's shallow text after silence decide your worth. Your silence, your strength, your choice, that is what destroys the game they tried to play. 2. The common trap. Responding right away. This is the silent killer of your progress, and most men, even those who see themselves as strong, confident, and disciplined, fall right into it without realizing it. The moment the phone buzzes, your chest tightens, your pulse quickens, and suddenly you feel like that teenager again, waiting for her approval. It's a raw chemical reaction. Adrenaline, dopamine, hope, all rushing through your veins. And in that heated moment, the urge to reply instantly feels irresistible, as if this one message is the lifeline you've been waiting for. But don't be fooled. That reflex is a trap. And if you fall for it, you don't just send a text, you send a declaration. I'm still here, waiting, ready whenever you need me. That is not strength. That is submission. That is you giving away your power. When you answer right away, you feed exactly what they want, validation. They don't come back because they love you. They come back because they want to check. Can I still pull his strings? And your instant reply is their victory. For them, it's just a quick ego boost. For you, it's a heavy cost, your dignity, your progress, and the masculine energy you've been working to rebuild. A high-value man doesn't operate like this. A high-value man doesn't chase crumbs. He knows that patience, control, and restraint are what attract women, not desperate reflexes. The real danger here isn't just that one reply. It's the cycle it reopens. The moment you give in, you've reset the entire dynamic. She drops breadcrumbs, you start chasing. She disappears, you start worrying. The silence that once worked in your favor is shattered, and you're dragged back into that endless loop where she leads and you follow. One weak moment can erase weeks or even months of healing. That's why this trap is so powerful. It doesn't just pull you into the past, it resurrects the very imbalance that kept you stuck. Don't let your masculine energy be hijacked. Be the man who values himself too much to jump at the sound of a notification. Be the man who understands that silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Be the high-value man who recognizes that not every buzz deserves his attention because his time, his peace, and his dignity are worth more than a recycled hey. Remember this. A woman will respect the man who respects himself. She will be drawn to the one who is not enslaved by instant gratification. That is what will truly attract women, the calm, composed presence of a man who is not moved by games, but instead holds firm in his own power. So the next time your phone lights up after silence, take a breath. Don't respond right away. Don't let old habits dictate your future. That single pause is more than just restraint. It's a declaration of who you are becoming. It's proof that you are no longer her puppet, but a man in full control of his emotions and his destiny. And that is what separates a high-value man from the rest. If this lesson opened your eyes, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more wisdom, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't let one weak reply undo your healing. Your dignity and peace of mind are worth more. Comment below to lock it in. I choose silence over weakness. 3. Understanding the reality. Bait and survey. This is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes your armor and Stoicism win becomes your strategy. Picture yourself like a warrior who has spent weeks or months healing, regaining confidence, and building an iron mind after a battle. Out of nowhere, a short text pops up, just as you're finally balanced and free. That is no accident. People who thrive on emotional manipulation have a predator's instinct for timing. They sense when you're slipping from their grasp, when you've begun to stand tall again, and that's when they drop the bait. That hey isn't love, it's a survey. They're testing you. Is your silence real or fake? Have you truly grown stronger, or are you still pretending? Most importantly, will you still dance to their music, or will your iron mind hold steady? Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the essence of Old Stoic wisdom. Don't let a few empty words undo your progress. Don't hand back your dignity for a little attention. That message after silence is less about reconnection and more about control. It's a calculated move designed to test your boundaries and reclaim influence. When you reply quickly, you tell them nothing has changed. When you stay calm and silent, you plant doubt in their mind, forcing them to confront the reality that they no longer control you. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That is the heart of Stoicism win, self-mastery and self-command under pressure. Let's be clear, you must see this dynamic for what it is. It's bait, it's a test, and it's a trap. Don't react. Breathe. Hold your ground. Your iron mind is your shield, and your composure is your sword. In modern life, where texts and notifications are the new battlefield, Old Stoic wisdom isn't just philosophy, it's a survival skill. You must use it to protect your peace and your dignity. Every time you resist the bait, you strengthen your iron mind. Every time you refuse to dance to their music, you score another Stoicism win. This isn't just about ignoring a text, it's about mastering your life, reclaiming your power, and proving to yourself that your silence speaks louder than any reply. 4. The core solution, the Stoic turn. The only way to truly win this psychological battle is through what I call the Stoic turn, and this is where psychology tricks and female psychology meet real masculine mastery. Don't confuse this with pretending to be cold, robotic, or heartless. That's just performance. The Stoic turn is about building genuine inner strength and emotional control, so that when that unexpected text pops up on your screen, your heart doesn't skip a beat, your stomach doesn't tighten, and your mind doesn't spin with questions like, do they still care? Or should I reply? Instead, you stand firm in clarity because you've trained yourself to value peace of mind above the cheap thrill of a notification. Female psychology shows us that women unconsciously test men with silence to measure their stability, and if you crumble at the first, hey, you're showing neediness. That is not how to fall in love, it's how to lose yourself. Don't give them that power. Stoicism has always taught that no one, not a lover, not a stranger, not even life circumstances, has the right to disturb your calm unless you allow it. When someone who ghosted you reappears with a lazy message, you must remind yourself their words don't define your worth. That is the foundation. Don't chase. Don't beg. Don't play the clown for attention. The Stoic turn isn't about revenge or making them jealous. It's about aligning your external actions with your internal reality. If they no longer matter to your happiness, your response or silence should reflect that. Psychology tricks are simple. Don't overreact, don't overexplain, don't fall into old patterns. Female psychology responds to strength, and strength looks like calm, measured indifference. That is how you flip the dynamic without saying a single dramatic word. Think of it this way. They expect the old version of you, the reactive man who jumps at crumbs of attention, who replies instantly, who proves he's still hooked. But the moment you act from calm detachment, you break their script. They are not prepared for silence. They are not prepared for short, composed replies that show zero emotional dependence. They want to pull your strings, but suddenly the puppet has cut the strings. That is the brutal surprise. And here's the beauty. The more you practice this, the stronger you become. The Stoic turn isn't about winning one conversation. It's about transforming into a man who is unshakable, who never dances to someone else's tune, who radiates masculine energy because he no longer seeks validation. This is the psychology trick that destroys manipulative games. Calm beats chaos. Composure beats confusion. Silence beats desperation. When you live this way, you don't just respond differently to one text, you reshape your entire reality. Female psychology is wired to chase what feels solid, and nothing feels more solid than a man who can't be moved by shallow gestures. That's how to fall in love without falling into weakness. You become a high-value man by default because you're not reacting, you're choosing. Don't let them think they can test you with silence and still have access to your emotions. Be the man who can walk away. Be the man who owns his peace. Be the man who knows that love built on respect lasts, while love built on control always crumbles. That is the Stoic turn, and once you master it, no text, no silence, and no ghost from the past can ever shake you again. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. 5. Time as your ultimate weapon. The strongest weapon in your arsenal as a man is not the clever line you text back, it's time. Words can be twisted, ignored, or forgotten, but time? Time leaves a mark no one can erase. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is pressure. Silence is weight. Silence is the roar that only the manipulator can hear in their own head. When they send you that sudden, hey, after weeks of silence, they expect an instant reaction because instant gratification is their game. But when minutes turn into hours and hours bleed into days without your reply, the ground under their confidence begins to crack. Here's the brutal truth. People who vanish and reappear thrive on control. They want to test if they can still summon you with one lazy message, as if you're waiting like a loyal dog. But when you withhold that instant validation, when you do not bow to their demand for attention, the power dynamic shifts. They are left to wrestle with doubt, with fear, with gnawing insecurity. They start asking themselves, did you see the message? Did you ignore it on purpose? Have you moved on? Do you still care? Every unanswered minute screams louder than words because your silence forces them to confront their own irrelevance. That gnawing uncertainty is poison to the manipulative ego. Don't underestimate this. Don't cheapen yourself by rushing back. Be patient. Be deliberate. That is the mark of a high-value man. A high-value man knows his worth, and he does not hand it over cheaply. When you delay, you're not just avoiding a text, you're broadcasting masculine energy without saying a word. Masculine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. Masculine energy is calm, controlled, and unbothered. And nothing attracts women or exposes manipulators more than a man who refuses to be played like a puppet. Think of time as your sword and shield. Time defends you from impulsive mistakes, from needy responses, from handing away your power. At the same time, it slices into their illusion of dominance. Every hour you don't reply is another crack in the glass house they built. By the third day, they're pacing, rereading the message, trying to convince themselves you'll cave. But you don't. You wait. You hold. And suddenly, the one who thought they held control is the one trapped in uncertainty. That is the art of using time as a weapon. When, if you finally decide to reply, your words hit with the force of silence multiplied. They are heavy, sharp, undeniable. Because they've been waiting, stewing, imagining. Your response is not just a message, it's an event. It's a reminder that you choose when to engage, you choose when to show up, and you choose who is worthy of your energy. And that is exactly how a high-value man moves. He doesn't rush to attract women, he doesn't beg, he doesn't validate manipulation. He stands still, anchored, radiating masculine energy that cannot be shaken. So remember this. Don't be quick to respond. Don't be predictable. Don't let someone think they can press a button and have your attention instantly. Be the man who understands that silence is louder than noise, that time is sharper than words. Because once you learn to wield time, you stop playing their game and they start playing yours. 6. The strategic response, short, cold, uninviting. When they text you after silence, you must understand this is not about connection, it is about control, and the only response that dismantles their strategy is the strategic one, short, cold, and uninviting. Don't fall into the trap of explaining yourself. Don't open the door to endless back and forth. Don't validate their ego with your warmth. Your reply must be stripped bare of emotion, calculated like a general in war, calm like an old Stoic philosopher who knew the power of silence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That is your stance here. A simple "okay" can carry the weight of a sword. A detached "thanks for reaching out" can feel like a wall they cannot climb. The genius of this method is that your words are polite but barren, professional yet lifeless, leaving no spark to ignite further talk. They expected your passion. Instead, they meet your iron mind. They wanted fireworks, they got dust. This is old Stoic wisdom applied in modern relationships, composure in the face of provocation. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." That freedom comes when you stop reacting like a servant to their games and start responding like a master of yourself. The psychology behind this is simple: cognitive dissonance. They thought they still had the power to stir you, but your indifference collides with their expectation, and the clash leaves them questioning their own value in your life. That's where you win. That's Stoicism win in action. You don't fight fire with fire, you starve it of oxygen. And sometimes, the sharpest weapon is no weapon at all. Silence itself is not weakness, it is the declaration of strength. When you choose not to reply, you say more than words ever could. You are not significant enough for me to spend my time on. Epictetus warned, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your silence is a reaction of power. It shows that your emotional world cannot be invaded by a two-word text from someone who treated you as disposable before. That's how an iron mind operates. It does not tremble, it does not rush, it simply remains unmoved. In today's world, where everyone is chasing validation through constant notifications and meaningless conversations, your restraint becomes magnetic. Modern life has conditioned people to expect instant replies, to live on dopamine hits from messages, to confuse attention with affection. But when you don't play by those rules, you stand out. You create mystery. You shift the dynamic. Don't give them what they expect. Give them what rattles them: composure, control, and cold distance. That is how you reclaim your dignity. That is how you remind them and yourself that your value does not decrease because someone stopped noticing it. Remember this: a lion does not roar at every bark, an oak does not sway at every breeze, and a man with stoicism win in his heart does not crumble at a message. So let me give you this command: be decisive. Don't waffle. Don't chase. Don't explain. If you reply, keep it short and barren. If you choose silence, embrace it fully. Let your iron mind guard your dignity. Let Old Stoic wisdom shape your words or your lack of them. The point is not cruelty. The point is measured restraint, the discipline of a man who has mastered himself. You must see every message as a test of your boundaries and every response as proof of who you are becoming. Do you want to be the man whose emotions are at the mercy of a phone screen, or the man who controls his own fate? Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power, wrote James Allen. Don't forget this. They wanted to pull you back into their orbit. Instead, show them that you now revolve around no one but yourself. This is how you win the modern war of attention, with silence, with composure, with unshakable confidence. And when you live by these rules, you'll see the truth. You never needed their words to feel whole. You only needed your own strength to stand tall. If this resonated with you, don't let your emotions control you. Take charge of the situation with confidence. Like, share, and comment below. Silence speaks louder than words. Let us know how you've used this strategy to take back your power. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful insights. 7. The power of silence, flipping the game. Listen up, silence is your sharpest weapon, not your retreat. Don't confuse absence with weakness. Be strategic. When she texts after a long quiet, your immediate impulse might be to fill the space, to explain, to apologize, to prove you're still there. That is exactly what they expect. Don't give them the script. Hold your tongue. Hold your ground. Silence creates a void, and that void will be filled with questions. Did he see it? Is he angry? Did I lose him? And those questions are the engine of psychological pressure. Use this truth like a compass. Silence forces uncertainty, and uncertainty does the heavy lifting for you. Psychology tricks aren't about cruelty. They're about clarity. You must understand that when you withhold the bait, you change who's chasing. She wanted a reaction. You withhold one. Her brain, wired by female psychology and by habit, will begin to replay the message, analyze tone, and invent scenarios. That inward spiral is where attraction can either grow or die, and that's why silence is so potent. Don't be obvious. Don't be cold for the sake of being cold. Be deliberate. Let your silence say, I have standards. I have life. I'm not defined by your timeline. Simple, clean, dangerous to the ego. You flip the dynamic because they are now operating in a fog you control. Instead of you anxiously refreshing your screen, she is checking the clock, checking herself. You've turned the test back onto them. You've asked, without words, how do you handle not being the center of attention? That question stings because it asks for accountability. Use short moves. Use long quiets. Alternate, like rhythm. Don't string together a series of vanishings that look like manipulation. Instead, create a steady cadence of presence and graceful absence. That is how dignity is preserved and how you avoid becoming a puppet on someone else's strings. Remember, silence protects your value. It doesn't inflate your pride, it preserves your territory. When you respond, respond with purpose. When you don't, own it. Let every hour of quiet chip away at their certainty. Let every unread notification become a small erosion of their assumption that you're waiting. Those are the psychology tricks that win quietly, not theatrically. Yes, the same mechanisms that make someone obsess over a message are the ones that make them consider how to fall in love or whether to. Mentioning female psychology isn't a trick to stereotype. It's a map to how attention, uncertainty, and curiosity interact. Use that map ethically. Create space for mutual desire to emerge, not for manipulation to fester. Ask yourself, are you building authentic intrigue or a fragile power play? Be honest. If your goal is to spark curiosity and test seriousness, silence is your ally. If your goal is to punish, you're just planting resentment. Shift the aim toward attraction. When silence is interspersed with confident, inviting communication, you harness curiosity and respect. You allow the other person to fill the gap with wonder, not assumptions. You let them choose to step forward, not to guilt you into a reply. That's the difference between playing games and setting standards. Keep your messages brief when you return. Keep your tone warm but unhurried. Don't over-explain. Don't beg for forgiveness. Reclaim the narrative. Use a single line that resets the mood and reestablishes the rules. Calm, composed, deliberate. That is mastery. And if you want a simple checklist, pause before you type, count your reasons for replying, allow at least 1 hour of deliberate silence after a triggering message, and when you do answer, do so with intention. Repeat this practice until it becomes second nature. These are subtle psychology tricks rooted in timing, presence, and emotional economy that let you protect your dignity while inviting genuine interest. You're not hiding, you're choosing how you show up. Let curiosity work its quiet magic. Let them wonder. Let them decide. 8. The consequences of reacting too quickly. Don't fool yourself into thinking that firing off an instant reply is harmless. When you respond right away, you're not reconnecting, you're surrendering. That quick reply doesn't just whisper, it shouts louder than any words could. Yes, you still matter more than my peace of mind. Yes, you still have control over me. That's not strength, that's submission. And every high-value man knows, submission to manipulation is the road to self-destruction. Be honest about what's really happening. Your instant response validates their game. It doesn't reassure them of love. It reassures them of power. You've just shown them they can snap their fingers and you'll break your silence. And once you prove that, they'll keep doing it. Every time they feel insecure, lonely, or in need of a quick ego boost, they'll push the same button again. You've trained them, like Pavlov's dog, to see you as their backup plan, their easy source of validation. That is not how a high-value man moves. That is how a man gets trapped. And the damage runs deeper than you realize. Every quick reply erases the weeks or even months of strength you fought to build. It makes your silence look fake, like you were just waiting for permission to speak again. Worse, it pulls you back onto the emotional roller coaster you swore you'd escaped, staring at your phone, analyzing every word, losing sleep over seen notifications. You lose your masculine energy, your calm presence, your authority, all because you couldn't wait. Don't underestimate what this costs you. While you're suffering, they're feeding. To them, your eagerness is proof that they still own a piece of you. To you, it's a painful reminder that self-control is harder than it looks. That is why reacting too quickly is not kindness, it's self-betrayal. It's the opposite of what a high-value man would do. A man who wants to attract women through strength, not desperation, knows that patience and silence are weapons. They build respect. They demand recognition. They restore balance. You must understand, silence is not weakness. Silence is presence. Silence is masculine energy at its purest form. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. If you can't master your own impulse to reply, you've already lost the battle. But if you can pause, breathe, and choose dignity over desperation, you turn the tables. You stop chasing. You force them to recognize your value instead of constantly proving it. So the next time your phone buzzes after weeks of silence, don't fall for the bait. Don't trade your peace for a moment of validation. Don't sell your self-respect for a quick hit of attention. Be still. Be decisive. Be the high-value man who doesn't dance to someone else's tune. Because the man who masters his silence is the man who controls the game. If you want to break free from this cycle, take a step back and reclaim your power. Don't let a simple message dictate your emotions or your worth. You have the strength to rise above. Responding immediately isn't the answer. Silence is your weapon. When you don't give in, you take back control over your life and your peace of mind. Comment below. I am no longer their backup plan if you're ready to embrace emotional independence and stop falling into the trap of quick replies. Stay strong, stay in control. 9. The role reversal, taking back control. Do not apologize for your peace. Hold your ground. That is the point. When you master restraint, when you answer with silence or a short, cold line, you flip the script. The hunter becomes the hunted. They expected you to chase. They expected drama. They expected you to reward attention with more attention. Instead, you stand still, calm, unshaken. That stuns them. That terrifies them. You must remember what Marcus Aurelius taught. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Use that power now. This is not petty revenge. This is strategic protection. Don't mistake it for cruelty. You are not manipulating them to hurt. You are reclaiming your emotional territory so you can breathe. In a world that measures worth by responsiveness, restraint is a revolutionary act. It says, my value is not dictated by your timetable. It says, my time is mine. Practice Old Stoic wisdom in each pause. Practice it until your silence becomes a language they cannot read. Let them check the phone. Let them invent reasons. Let them analyze last seen, delivery ticks, the tiny blue check. Let them do the work of worrying for a while. That is their choice now, not yours. You must refuse the old loop, react, apologize, explain, repeat. Instead, choose a new loop, observe, control, preserve, move on. Say less, live more. Repeat the truth from different angles until it sinks in. You are not available for their chaos. Short reply, no reply. A single composed sentence that says everything without begging for anything. That is power. That is freedom. That is the iron mind in action. Build that iron mind every day. Train it with small silences and small refusals until the reflex to over-explain is dead. In modern life, where every relationship is amplified by notifications and social pressure, the ability to stand steady is a competitive advantage. Your inbox is a battlefield for attention and energy. Guard your front line. Protect your peace. Don't let every ping become an emergency. This is practical. This is tactical. This is Stoicism win in real time. When you refuse to be baited, you force clarity. Either they step up or they step away. Either outcome serves you. Remember Seneca, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So stop imagining their next move. Stop rehearsing outcomes. Observe the facts. Act with dignity. Act with restraint. Give yourself boundaries and enforce them. Give yourself self-respect and refuse to bargain it away for short-term validation. Be decisive. Be calm. Be the man who sets the standards. Let your silence be the most eloquent message you send. Let it be a test they must pass if they want in. Don't congratulate drama. Don't reward instability. Let your peace be the currency of value that they must earn. And when you do reply, let it be purposeful. A sentence that moves things forward or ends them cleanly. No whining. No justifications. No bargaining. You are not here to fix their insecurity. You are here to live well. Repeat, Old Stoic wisdom, practice daily, makes your reactions lean and lethal to drama. Repeat, Stoicism win when you choose peace over performance. Repeat, iron mind forged in small, steady refusals becomes unshakable. Now act like it. Now live like it. Now win. 10. The final point, emotional independence and healthy relationships. Emotional independence is the highest form of strength, and psychology tricks teach us that when someone tries to pull you back into their cycle with a late night, hey, your power lies not in replying, but in the fact that you no longer feel compelled to answer at all. Female psychology often operates through subtle cues and tests, but when you rise above the need for validation, you shatter the game entirely. Think of it like this. Before, a single text could ruin your entire day, sending your mind racing and your dignity collapsing. But now you've built an iron wall of self respect, and that same text bounces off like an arrow striking a shield. Don't let their crumbs of attention dictate your worth. Don't let their silence make you chase. Don't give anyone the right to disturb your peace of mind. That is emotional freedom, and it is priceless. You must remember, happiness built on someone else's approval is fragile, but happiness rooted in your own self-mastery is indestructible. This is where the real psychology tricks flip the script, not to hurt them, but to liberate you. When you stop explaining yourself, stop begging for affection, and stop proving your worth, you instantly become untouchable. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That same principle applies here. When you realize no message, no attention, no breadcrumb has power over your emotions, you win. And here's the irony. When you master this level of emotional independence, you don't just repel toxic people, you attract healthier ones. Female psychology shows that women are naturally drawn to a man who radiates masculine energy, who stands calm in his silence, who does not beg, but leads by his presence. A high-value man is not easily swayed, not manipulated by texts, not enslaved by games, and that very stability becomes magnetic. The brutal truth is this: your silence is louder than any reply, and your restraint is more powerful than any long explanation. Be the man who sees his future as more important than her manipulation. Be the man who values dignity over drama. Be the man who cannot be shaken by a midnight text because he knows his worth is not up for negotiation. When you live like this, you don't just learn how to fall in love, you learn how to fall in love wisely, with yourself first, so you can recognize when others truly value you. And from that place, your relationships shift forever because you're no longer chasing scraps of attention, you're commanding respect without asking. That is the final victory. That is what makes you unbreakable. And that is the psychology trick no manipulative text can ever destroy. And that's the real lesson, my friend. Freedom is not about making someone chase you. It's about not needing them at all. Remember this: if one little message can still shake your heart, you haven't taken your power back yet. But when you master your silence, when you stand firm in your dignity, you prove to yourself that your happiness belongs to you and no one else. So my sincere advice to you is this: don't waste your strength proving your worth to people who already showed you they couldn't see it. Instead, invest that strength into building yourself, protecting your peace, and living with calm authority. Because the day you realize you no longer need their attention is the day you finally win. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. If this message hit home, drop a comment saying "I choose freedom" below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more psychology tricks and life lessons that keep you strong.